amigos, it's Will here from Will's Custom Figures, coming at you today with a big bad breakdown of none other than my very own custom Marvel Legends Razorback work in progress video. So please guys, sit back and relax while I took you through how and why. There's a little preview in the background and all the details in between. This one has been long overdue and something I've been wanting to work on for a long time, so here we go. And here we go, guys. Here is my favourite part of the watch along, something I'm going to do a little bit more of. But here's a bit of a comparison as to what I'll be using versus what the original looked like. Now, as you can see here, I've got the Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth. Now, this one is completely intact. I've done no amendments to it. You can see there is a lot of pins on the arms. He's got this awesome looking gauntlet on his right hand. He's got the Age of Apocalypse classic neck piece. And here you've got Razorback, you know, looking, I'd say, less than intimidating. I'll be honest, like, it just does not tick the box for me. Like, this looks badass. This just looks a little bit strange. And it's not the Razorback that I've got in my mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my stages for the customization. So firstly, just remove the head. And, oh, that looks a lot nicer already, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying this isn't a good body. I quite like this body, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I just think that it's a little bit too small. I think that Hasbro's maybe cheaped out a little bit on the plastic, the cost of plastic. Now, there is a headpiece in there. I might end up popping that headpiece out eventually and swapping it for a more angry looking face. I don't mind this head sculpt, but it's just not my mind's eye version of him. But certainly the body is the first thing that I want to address. Now, this is a Sabretooth where I've already started the customization process. I don't want this video to be too long. Now, I've used Milliput clay. Here is my lovely little Milliput. You mix the two parts together. There's a green and a grey part, and it just air dries over time. So, as you can see, covered up all the little pins. Those obviously will need repainting, but nevertheless, covered them all up. And it looks a little bit rubbish right now, but once that's been painted, you won't be able to tell the difference. Now, popping off the head. Here we go. We're getting somewhere. Now that looks more intimidating. That is the size that Razorback should be. So very simply so far, I've just removed this. I've used Milliput to cover up all the little holes and the pins. I'm not going to lie to you. This brown and these browns match perfectly. I know comic accuracy is with this sort of like yellow and green colour, but I really like it just like this, I'll be honest with you. So, the next thing I want to do is, because of course this is clearly a Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth hand and gauntlet, I might have to, there we go, pulled it off. I may have to pause the video and put that arm in boiling water to get this off. But I've done this previously with the Wrecking Crew. So I love this, but obviously it's not ideal. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pop off this hand, and then I'm going to see if I can pull this off. No, again, I'm going to need to boil it. I think, oh, yeah, I am. Otherwise, I'm going to damage it. So what I want to do is, I'm going to use boiling water. I'm going to pop off this one. I'm going to pop off this one, and then I'm just going to replace them. Yeah, sorry, Sabretooth. You're going to get kit bashed and pulled apart a little bit, but I promise you, it'll be worth it in the end. And here we go, guys, the unglamorous part of customization. We got teacups and, yeah, random figures just lying around on a desk in a cup of boiling water. Now, just while I'm doing that, here's the artwork. Look how cool Razorback looks here, man. The guy's jacked. Now, I'm not saying that that isn't a cool looking body type, but not for Razorback. Like, look at this. And I'm going to bring in a few of the other figures in a minute, because I do think that this pack was super underwhelming. Like, Silvermane's there. You've got, who else have we got while it boils? We've got Molten Man. We've got the Fly. And of course, SpiderMan dead center. Now, I was completely gonna skip this set. I just found it was quite underwhelming, if I'm honest with you. It really didn't scratch any kind of itch or need. I'm hoping that the version of Razorback that I can create is one that I can be happy with and excited to have in my collection. Now, if I just pull this, oh, the whole arm pops off. There we go. I've got the beautiful little top of the gloves there. Might need to use a scalpel. Here we go. Here's a nice little look inside. you can see there's a little lump in there that goes onto this part of the arm and fits in place. Now, let's pop Sabretooth's arm back on, because I do intend to use this eventually and use this Sabretooth for something else. But as you can see, the arm has went back on nicely, and I can also pop the hand back on. Very cool. There we go. Sabretooth is back in action. Now, both of these Sabretooths together cost me about £15. Now, this is a slightly tougher one from memory when I use this on the Wrecking Crew. I haven't done my finished video of the Wrecking Crew yet, but I will do. Okay, and there we go. So it's popped off here. Happy days. Some of the Milliputs also come off with it, and you can see there's a nice little joint there. Now, what I do want to do is I want this to just pop on nicely on here. We'll see if it's going to go. I don't think it is, because of course it's made for a right arm. So with that in mind, I'm going to use my scalpel now. And just while I'm doing that, just to fill some of the time, here is good old SpiderMan. You can see looking a lot smaller. It's Molten Man. Again, looking a hell of a lot smaller compared to their big brother, Razorback. This is called the Rolson 17-piece hobby set. I'm really happy with how this has helped me with my customs over the years. And just super carefully, I sort of like bend it and slowly chop away, just to remove that little nodule. And it should then, in theory, from memory, when I've worked on the past figures using this Sabretooth, I don't think it was the most popular figure, but you can pick him up cheap, even to this day. I had a look on eBay the other day, and I think I saw one for about £10. So yeah, very good price. Now, here we go. No little nodule, that's all been cut off. Let's pop it on here. How does it look? Let's have a look. Oh, bit of pushing. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Really happy with that. See, there is a little bit that's still exposed here, so I'll just fill it up with Milliput clay. That'll be a good time for me to actually show you exactly how we use the Milliput. And here we go, getting back with the action. So I'm going to bring in my trusty Milliput. I'm going to move these old bits of Sabretooth out of the way. Just these little bits here. I'll tinker around with them later and try and salvage that Sabretooth figure as much as I can. Only a very little bit of amendment to him, so it shouldn't be that big a change. So as you can see, we've got the grey piece here, and then you have mixing equal size together. Is that about equal, would you say? Probably a bit too much of each. You mix both equal parts together and then mush it around in your hands. There we go. I think that's about equal parts. What do you guys think? I think that's about right, isn't it? So mush it around, make one colour ultimately. Now, just while I'm doing that, I don't know how you guys feel about this Spider-Man. Not my favourite Spider-Man that's ever happened. And the expression on the fly is cool. I like it. Now, mine from Zavi actually came without the wings. Wasn't very happy. I've got a bit of a complaint going on with them at the moment. Also, Spider-Man didn't have the spare hands, which was disappointing. And Molten Man didn't have the flames on the back. So God knows what happened with the distribution, but you can imagine wasn't best pleased with that. But it's one of those, it's going to happen from time to time, isn't it? First world problems. Now, I'm trying to manipulate the Milliput as best as I can to make sure it's a perfect size for where I'm using it. You see, when I've been customizing, the pre-work that I've done with the Milliput has actually come loose. And all I'm going to do is just blend it into that hole. I'm not going to have it's not going to look absolutely perfect straight away, because I'm going to have to paint it. I'm going to have to smooth it with my fingers. Now, one thing I always do is, I can't help it, I always use too much clay, unfortunately. So I'm going to chop some of it away with some of my sculpting tools. Just because if you've got too much on there, you know, it's not a sculpture. You don't want it to come loose when you're moving it around, posing it and stuff. I've got rid of a little bit of it. And then it's just a blending process. Now, sometimes I will dip my hand in water just to help me with that blending process. But you want it to look really smooth, be smooth to touch. And there we go, I'll remove all the little bits of excess. I also get a paintbrush, and I will just paint over the top, and that kind of helps smooth over everything also. That's a technique. I don't know if other people use that, but that really helps me. I did that with all these other joints, and you can see they're very smooth. So that's the most important thing to me. I'm going to use a little bit more on this part here. There we go. And yeah, as I said, always have you too much Milliput. It's air drying, so it's one of those very cheap to buy off eBay. Yeah, that's the right amount now. Nice and smooth. So fitting this on, will it just pop on? I'm hoping it will. Yes, getting the right angle I think is important. But beautiful. There we go. He now has the upper part of the glove. I'm very happy with that. So the next part, of course, Sabretooth has this huge silver part on there. So I'm just going to move him back here. Now, scalpel again. It's a case of just slowly but surely trimming this off. I'm gonna heat it in boiling water first because it is quite hard plastic. And here we go. So I've heated this now, and it should just come off a lot easier. Yeah, there we go. So the scalpel's cutting straight through. This scalpel has been used for a lot of projects as well. So I'm just going to focus less on the camera. Sorry if it goes blurry, and more on my fingers. But yeah, you can see there's like it sort of like overlays. It sits on top of the glove. Here we go. Let's do a little bit of choppy. I probably should have boiled the kettle again for this, because it is still quite tough to cut through. But nevertheless, this would be happening off screen. No different to how it's happening right here, right now. I'm going to do a few more chops and then I'll pause the video so you don't all get bored to death watching me cut apart a Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth hand. Oh, in fact, no, I think I'm there actually. Yes, beautiful. So I'll warm it in my fingers. The Milliput will dry after, I'd probably say about 10 minutes, it'll start to dry. This is 7 or 8 minutes since I mix this together, and all I do is I'm just pushing it in. So it actually takes really well. It adheres to the plastic very nicely. And as you can see, just pushing it, making sure it's in all those little gaps. Pushing it on all those little gaps, just making sure it's seamless. It's seamless and very smooth. That's the most important thing for me, because I can colour match later at the painting stage. Okay, now I'm very happy with that at the moment. Lovely. So it's probably a little bit too much clay on there. I'm just going to remove a little bit now, so it's a little bit thinner, and then I will drag it with my thumb into all those little nooks, crannies, and crevices. Let's give it a little push. Oh yeah, there we go, it's on, Yay! Here we go guys, bringing this video to a close. You can now see that we've got an absolutely beaten up and taken apart Sabretooth here. But the best thing is we now have a Razorback that has 2 matching sides of the glove. He's got all of the pins that are covered. I'm really happy with how this has went down. I hope you are as well. I've shown you some of my techniques from actually brushing the clay. There's a little bit there, just to remove any kind of remnants and little imperfections. But as you can see now, I'll pull him in for a final look before I end part 1 of this video. That is a Razorback that I want in my collection. That's a Razorback that Spider-Man would be scared of. So yeah, guys, I hope you've liked this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below if you've enjoyed this video. There were no action figures truly harmed in the filming of this video, apart from the fly that fell over there in the background. And I'm so excited to get a decent, muscular, correct size, comic accurate Razorback into my collection. This guy is going to be an absolute beast. I can't wait on part 2 of this video to mix all the paints and to apply them onto this awesome physique and body. Please follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and follow me, of course, here on YouTube. From me, from the soon to be finished Razorback, I'll catch you guys on the next one.